This is okay. You can't even see, this is my great map of Winona's East End. Again, if you're not from Winona, of course all of you are. This is the East End. These are the important spots like the athletic club, like the various saloons and taverns, like the Polish Stock Company and the T.J. Bamenek Grocery. The weight of gravity was, the Polish center of gravity was on the East End with a small Polish community on the West End. Next, please. And this is kind of fun. These are my great-grandparents, Jacob and Franciszka Pawlowski. Jacob was born on board the Donau. He was born at sea, and he died in a clap of thunder out on his farm in Arcadia in August of 1937. His wife died 5 days afterwards. Next, please. Mr. and Mrs. Charlie Bamenek. And again, our grandmother Bamenek died tragically at the age of 25 after giving birth to her third child. She had emigrated she was an orphan at age 15. She emigrated to the United States all by herself to join her big brother in Winona. She married my great-grandfather Carl Bamenek, and again lived to be only 25. Charles remarried and had like 11 more kids after that. Next. Okay, one more thing, one more history type thing, then we get to look at a few more pictures and I'll take your questions. There is also a wave of immigration from Winona. There are a number of daughter cities of Winona that have Kashubian Polish families that have at one time lived in Winona. Basically, people ran out of land here in Trempealeau County and in Winona. They had to look for new land to homestead. And next slide, please. They found it in Warsaw, North Dakota. They found it in Weebach, Montana. They found it way out in the middle of nowhere. But way out in the middle of nowhere, you will find Catholic churches named after Polish saints and cemeteries full of dead Kashubians. And there again, that is part of our Kashubian Polish heritage. Next slide, please. Yes, the Polish Cathedral, St. Stan's. This is my stopping point for the history part because basically when St. Stan's was built in 1895, by that time, there wasn't really any Kashubian influence at all except for maybe speaking a little Kashubian at home. Memories of the old country. The people who paid and scrimped and saved and labored to build this parish. And it was a war building this parish between the years of 1893 and 1895. Fist fights on the street, priests dragged out of the sanctuary, nuns being harassed at night. It took a lot of grief to build this church, but once it got built, it said one word. It said Polish. You looked up at the skyline of Winona in 1895. Who put that up there? It was the Polish. And the Polish had arrived. And it was a great thing. But really, it marked really pretty much the decline of all things Kashubian. Next slide, please. And the Kashubians today, all I'll say is there are plenty of them. They have a lot of fun. They speak their own language. They're fun to meet. And they want to meet you. They love hearing about Winona. They want to know why more people from Winona don't come to visit them. And I said, I'll do my best. Next slide, please. This is the museum at Szymbark. I don't know if you can see it properly or not, but it's a house that's upside down. Leave it to us to design a museum with a house that's upside down. I did not get to go in that museum, even though it was my 50th birthday, and my friend Malgorzata told him, I have an American guest. He's having his 50th birthday. We don't have very much time left. Can we take skips? And the answer that came back was, we hope your friend has a very happy birthday. I'll go there someday. Next, please. This is a little snippet from World Kashubian Day 2013. Every year, there's a meeting of the world's Kashubians in one or another town in Kashubia. Last year, it was in Władysławowo. And this is not the Władysławowo, this is not everybody who was there. This is just a bunch of kids who have been on a bus all day and they needed to stop and let off some steam and dance and sing and listen to music before they got back on the buses for the grand day. Next, please. My visit to Beethoven 2013, again on my birthday. You'll recognize Richard and Lesh. That's me back there with my friends Eddie, Edmund, and Malgorzata. Again, they had cake ready for me and candy and a snuff. They're just really wonderful people. Next, please. Party like a Kashubian. Oh Lord, you have to eat a lot. You have to drink a lot. And once you've eaten and drink a lot, they make you dance. It's kind of brutal the way those ladies will just drag a poor guy up from the table. I try stepping on their feet and all of that to make them not dance with me, and they just hand me off to some other woman. They're just shameless. It's hilarious. It's fun. Next, please. And finally, the Pumivuk mystery to close. At World Kashubian Day last year in 2013, I'm walking down the main street. This guy comes up to me, Dr. Hughes, are you Dr. Hughes? Yes, I am. Are you a processor? And I know this is in Poland. It was the compiler, Marian Zieliński-Żukowo, who had compiled an English Kashubian Polish dictionary. And I didn't have time to read it at the time. But if you look in the right up-hand corner, and I know it's gotten out of focus a little bit, and I'm afraid to touch it, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. You will see that the Polish word for washcloth is actually miszka. And the Kashubian word for washcloth is pumivuk. That my mother, who probably lived her entire 70 years on this planet without even for a second knowing that she was a Kashubian. And a 100% Kashubian at that. Nevertheless trained her husband and her 3 kids to refer to a washcloth as a pumivuk. Even if you forget all the historical stuff I've been blathering about for the last 2 hours, even if you forget all of that, I talk in other people's sleep for a living. I expect my students to forget everything I tell them. I would encourage you, especially those of you who raised your hands, to realize that you've got a little bit of Kashubian in you. And it will break out in the strangest ways. And that if you give it a chance, cultivate it a little bit, learn a little bit more about your Kashubian heritage and just what makes us so special. Come over here and read the walls, for God's sake. You will not be disappointed. I thank you for your patience, and I would be more than happy to take any questions at this time.